Do you know this vegetable? Lettuce leaf, celery stalk. It doesn't really taste like any of them, a crunchy pea flavor, and is very juicy. Cook it if you like asparagus, or cut it raw in a salad. The inner stalk has a crunch similar to celery, although the taste is milder and more delicate and is often compared to asparagus when cooked. The leaves can be used like spinach, eaten in salads when young and tender, blanched or boiled while the plant is still maturing. It is fantastic for frying in a pan. It probably doesn't look like any other vegetable, but you know it's lettuce. What's more, you eat its stem. It's the main purpose for growing it, not the leaves, although they are also eaten. Some may associate this vegetable with films about Asian cuisine. They are especially popular in China, where a slightly bitter taste is appreciated. But why exactly Krakowska? In Poland, these lettuces are also called Krakow scapes or Krakowska lettuce, although in a narrow sense it is only one of the varieties of stem lettuce, i.e. Głąbik Krakowski. The only one formally known and grown in Poland. It was especially popular in the vicinity of Krakow, where it was called scapes, so to this day it is often known as Krakow scapes. The stem variety was bred in China from lettuce that arrived there around 600 to 900 AD from the Mediterranean region. It began to be popularized in the West around 1942 under the trade name Celtuce, a combination of the names celery and lettuce, but remained a little popular plant. It is not known exactly when and how stem lettuce came to Poland. The name Krakow cabbage is most likely a common name for a locally isolated variety of stem lettuce. In villages around Krakow, this vegetable was widely cultivated as early as the mid-19th century. Krakow cabbage was commonly planted near Krakow in the early 20th century, but after World War II, its cultivation gradually became rarer, until it practically disappeared in the 1960s. In the second decade of the 21st century, attempts were made to save the cabbage from oblivion, including in 2019. Reports of its reactivation, and it was also qualified for the Slow Food Central Europe project. Can we therefore treat the Krakow cabbage as a regional, Polish delicacy? I will immodestly admit that this is one of the easiest lettuces to grow. Stem lettuce is a vegetable recommended as a pre or catch crop. Due to its lower soil and climate requirements than other lettuce varieties, it is considered relatively easy to grow. Like spinach, lettuce is a cool climate plant, and for best results, sowing in spring and autumn is recommended. Are you already intrigued by this amazing vegetable? Stem lettuce is an annual plant belonging to the Asteraceae family with a strong, tap root. It is known as Głąbik, shoot lettuce, Głąbik Krakowski, Lactica augustana, Krakowska lettuce, asparagus lettuce, stem lettuce. This lettuce, unlike others, does not form heads. The plant reaches a height of approx 50 to 60 centimeters. The stem diameter at harvest is approx 3 to 4 centimeters, but they can also be thicker. The stem can be reddish, green or white depending on the variety. If the plant is not harvested, it branches in the upper part of the shoot and forms an inflorescence. At this stage of development, the shoot becomes woody and is not suitable for consumption, so keep an eye on the harvest date. It will be ready for consumption 90 days after sowing. Sowing date. Do you know why your lettuce is not germinating? Krakow cabbage can be grown by sowing seeds directly into the ground in April or July. A spacing of 20 to 45 centimeters is used. The seeds of stem lettuce germinate in the light, so they should not be covered. Germination usually occurs within 14 to 21 days. Lettuce seeds do not germinate at high temperatures, so you need to water them very well when sowing them in the summer. To help them germinate well, it is necessary to expose the seeds to cold. Soak the seeds in room temperature water for 5 to 8 hours. Wrap them in a wet paper towel and place them in a loose plastic bag. Place the bag in the refrigerator for 24 hours. Then you can leave them at room temperature until they germinate or sow them directly into potting mix. After about a month, when the seedlings have grown to 4 to 5 leaves, transplant them to the garden. Stem lettuce takes more than 2 months to grow stems, so it needs a lot of nutrients during this period. Stem lettuce is sensitive to day length. When the day is long, it flowers. It then becomes unpalatable. Therefore, it is necessary to adhere to the sowing dates. Stem lettuce can be sown directly into the ground or from seedlings, sowing into the ground from March 15th to April 15th and the last week of June and the first week of July. Seedlings from March 15th to 31st. Stem lettuce tolerates spring frosts well. When sowing in the ground, the rows should be marked every 25 centimeters, and the emergence should be thinned out, leaving individual plants every 20 centimeters. You can also sow seeds in March under cover. When the seedlings start to form true leaves, they should be pricked out into individual pots. The ready seedlings are planted in the beds in April. The young plant is also very tasty, green, like lettuce. After transplanting, it will go through a long rosette phase. In this phase, it will grow only a few layers of leaves for over a month. This is a good time to select an additional plant to get green leaves. Towards the end of the rosette phase, the leaves become darker and shorter. The texture ages and becomes rubbery, and it can also have a bitter taste. It is ready to grow a stem. If I pick young leaves of stem lettuce, will it affect its stem? Of course it will. Do not pick young leaves if you want the shoot to produce a good quality stem. The location for growing lettuce must be sunny. In crop rotation, it is grown in a similar way to other lettuces, as a pre-crop for vegetables that enter the beds later and as a catch crop after early vegetables. This lettuce can be grown in greenhouses as a pre-crop for thermophilic vegetables such as tomatoes or cucumbers. Lettuce is also planted intercropped with cauliflowers, and even with radishes and carrots. These lettuces are grown where other plants have fallen out in the beds. The lettuces should be sown in spring directly into the ground, as early as possible. Before sowing, it is a good idea to dress the seeds against diseases. Seed dressing tea is used for this purpose, which is available in every seed and gardening store. For a 3-gram portion of seeds, a little bit of seed dressing tea is added, on the tip of a knife. Mix everything well, like in a small jar, and you can sow. Seeds should be dressed with gloves, and the jar in which they are dressed should be used only for this purpose. Dressed scape seeds are sown in rows every 40 centimeters, 1 centimeter deep. After emergence, the plants are thinned, leaving them in a row every 30 centimeters. Care consists of weeding and watering the plants. The soil under the scapes should be average or fertile, humus. pH from slightly acidic to slightly alkaline, 6 to 7.5. Stem lettuce grows best in the first year after manure. It likes sites fertilized with compost. The most favorable soils for it are light and medium, rich in humus, permeable, but at the same time retaining water and heating up easily. The scapes grow in any soil, as long as it is not too dry. They are sensitive to lack of water. Plants sufficiently supplied with water can grow up to 80 centimeters high. Temperature. This lettuce also has low requirements when it comes to temperature. Planting in the ground is possible as early as April. Frost resistance, up to -6 degrees Celsius. Watering. Watering should be moderate. The scapes have a fairly strong root system. They like slightly damp soil, but not wet. They only tolerate slight drying out. To maintain the appropriate taste and juiciness of the stem, which is the basic edible part, this lettuce should be provided with plenty of water. And in times of drought it should be watered systematically, preferably without sprinkling the leaves. Without watering, the shoots quickly lignify during heat and drought. Fertilization. The place designated for the scapes should be dug up in autumn to the depth of a shovel and left unraked for the winter. In early spring, as soon as the soil thaws and dries out a bit, which is the 3rd decade of March to mid-April, fertilizer should be spread fairly evenly. Dug over carefully so that the fertilizer is well mixed with the soil, and raked. The Krakow cabbage has lower soil requirements than head lettuce, because it has a stronger root system and roots deeper. In the case of poor growth, it is fertilized with saltpeter, and the use of the so-called nettle slurry with chicken manure also gives good results. Multi-component garden fertilizers are suitable for fertilizing under the stumps, which contain the minerals needed by plants in the right proportions. These are Fructus 2, Vitaflor 1, or Azafosca. In early spring, one of the given fertilizer mixtures should be scattered fairly evenly in the amount of 5 healthy tablespoons per 1 meter of surface. When using Azafosca or Vitaflor 1 in spring, the plants should be fed again, using top dressing in the first days of June. 2 full tablespoons of the fertilizer mixture are given per 1 square meter, scattering it in the inter-rows. When using Fructus 2 in spring, top dressing is unnecessary. You can of course limit yourself to natural fertilizers only, and it will also grow nicely. Choose a sunny and sheltered place to obtain an early harvest. Fertilization is similar to fertilizing head lettuce, except that after each harvest of leaves, the plants are watered with a 0.2% solution of multicomponent fertilizer with a high nitrogen content. This can naturally be nettle slurry. In the care of Krakow scapes, the most important thing is weeding and regular watering of the plants. This vegetable requires constantly slightly moist soil. Harvesting. Depending on the variety, the edible shoots of stem lettuce are harvested 10 to 14 weeks after sowing. Before the plant flowers, we cut the stems when they reach 25 to 30 centimeters in height. Once the stem starts growing, it grows quickly. The time to harvest the stems is only about 3 weeks. Harvest them early and eat them when they are at their best, or when you see flower buds, they will be too old to eat. The stems are cut after they have reached the appropriate height, before they become woody. At the latest, when flower buds begin to appear on the plant, remember that plants intended for consumption should not be allowed to flower, because then the shoots become bitter and stringy. You can pick the top leaves, located at the top of the stem, but basically the scapes are grown for their thick, juicy shoot. For this purpose, the entire shoot is cut and cleaned of leaves. Krakowski głąbiki are not stored, but they can be preserved by stripping the stem of leaves, peeling them, cutting them into 4 to 10 centimeters long pieces, and pickling them like lightly salted cucumbers for quick consumption. They are truly excellent. These lettuces have a shorter vegetation period than head lettuce, and therefore, primarily due to the possibility of early harvest, they are particularly worth recommending. Growing this lettuce is a way to have fresh lettuce for a longer period of time, achieving relatively large yields from a small area. In the case of stem lettuce, only the largest leaves are always torn off, leaving the stem. It shoots into flower shoots quite late, so it can be picked off for a long time. Leaf and stem lettuce are good feed for chickens, positively affecting their load-bearing capacity in spring. Since these lettuces grow quickly and need little space, every gardener who has chickens should grow them. They can be planted anywhere on the plot where there is free space, and if they are intended only for feed, then even in shaded places. These lettuces can also be used to mark rows. After fulfilling this role, they should be pulled out and used as chicken feed. Diseases and pests. When it comes to diseases and pests, it is resistant. It rarely causes problems. It grows healthily. It is more resistant than, for example, butterhead lettuce. The occurrence of fungal diseases is facilitated by excessive watering and waterlogged soil. Why does the stem crack? This usually happens due to high temperatures and too much water or rain. Some varieties are very juicy with thin skin and tend to crack more easily. These varieties grow well in cooler weather. Some varieties have firm flesh and thick skin and are less prone to cracking. They grow well in warmer weather. Why does the lettuce stem grow too early and is thin? If you add a lot of fertilizer, a lot of sunlight, and provide the plants with the right distance, and the stem will still be thin, this is due to the warm weather. Especially in the case of spring crops. In cool weather and at an early stage, the stem cannot produce leaves. Later, as the weather warms up, the lettuce stalk will grow quickly and will be lean. Whether it is thick or thin, the stalk of Krakowska lettuce is equally crunchy and delicious. But what if your stalk lettuce is hollow in the middle? When forming the stalk, if the temperature is too high or there is not enough water, it may become hollow at the top. Here's a little trick for growing this vegetable. Remove 1/3 to half of the old lettuce leaves from the bottom to the top when the lettuce is over 30 centimeters long. This will help with ventilation and allow the stem to get more sun. The stem will look healthier and prettier. In case of aphids on the scapes, you can control them with chemicals available in seed stores. These are Hostaquick with a 3-day waiting period and Sidofos Liquid 30 with a 7-day waiting period. Remember that the waiting period is the number of days during which the plants cannot be harvested for consumption. Aphids can also be combated with non-chemical agents, such as plant extracts that destroy aphids but are harmless to humans. Here are a few examples to choose from. Pour 20 to 30 grams of crushed garlic cloves 1 liter of water and spray the attacked plants. Next method, pour 2 to 2.5 liters of water over 5 kilograms of tomato leaves or side shoots. 40 to 60 minutes after boiling, for spraying, take 1 to 1.5 liters of this decoction per 5 of water. The next one is, pour 2.5 liters of water over 30 dag of green potato leaves for 3 to 4 hours, then spray the plants. The most effective results are obtained when using this treatment in the evening. Another idea is, pour 30 dag of fresh chamomile herb with 1 liters of water at a temperature of 60 to 70 degrees Celsius and leave for 12 to 14 hours, after which you can spray the plants. Spray so that all the plants are well moistened. From 0.25 to 1.0 liters of working liquid is needed per 1 square meter, depending on the size of the plants. Nutritional value. The edible part of stem lettuce contains about 4.5% dry matter, 2.2% carbohydrates. It contains vitamin C and E, and is also a rich source of B vitamins, carotenoids, anthocyanins, calcium, magnesium and iron. According to research, stem lettuce has an energy value of 54 kilocalories per 100 grams, contains 7 grams of dietary fiber per 100 grams and does not accumulate heavy metals. The scapes are an excellent source of folic acid, antioxidants, potassium, calcium, iron, vitamins A, E, K and B vitamins. Stem lettuce also contains almost twice as much vitamin C as head lettuce. Due to its nutritional value and low calorific value, there are only 18 kilocalories in 100 grams. The Krakow scape is recommended for people on a weight loss diet. The scapes contain a lot of calcium and some iron. Of the vitamins C and provitamin A, the more of which the more intensely green the leaves of the plant are and the more loosely placed on the stem. This is probably the reason why all leaf lettuces have a much greater value as a source of vitamins than head lettuces. Consumption. The leaves are an addition to salads, while the stem can be eaten raw, cooked or pickled. Do you know how to tell if lettuce is stringy and overgrown? When preparing lettuce, look at its cross-section at the bottom. If it has a hole, it means it is overgrown and the part itself is stringy. Cut it off until the hole disappears. Peel the stems from the leaves, which you can use for stir-fry dishes, and from the skin, which is hard and fibrous. In the culinary arts, the thickened stem is mainly used, although the leaves are also edible and the inflorescences before the buds develop on them. Before consumption, the shoots are usually peeled and cut into slices. The stems can be eaten raw, e.g. in salads, or they can be pickled like cucumbers, made into soups or stewed, and prepared similarly to asparagus. Stem lettuce is a vegetable often used in Chinese cuisine, popular in both mainland China and Taiwan. Varieties. The following varieties of lettuce are recommended for cultivation. Purpurat is a unique variety that combines aesthetic and taste values. It is characterized by exceptional resistance and is particularly appreciated for its ease of cultivation. You can enjoy this lettuce for most of the year, as you can sow it both in spring and autumn. Beautiful purple leaves will not only decorate your garden, but also a tasty addition to various dishes. Stem lettuce corolla is a mid-early lettuce. The variety is recommended for cultivation in the field in early spring and autumn. Also occurs in green, Głąbik Krakowski is a variety with variable morphological features. Spring is coming. Are you ready to grow your own stem lettuces from near Krakow? I hope this video is helpful. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe, like and comment to support my channel. See you next time.